Hello, 7th grade life science class. I wanted to give you a nice little video where I review the answers to the assignment I gave you the other day, that number 5 through 20 and 23 on pages 91 and 92 in your textbooks. So I'm just going to go and read through it and give you the answers and maybe talk about them briefly. So the first few, we were supposed to write a sentence describing the relationship between pairs of terms. And in number 5, the pair of terms we're given are pathogen and antibody. Now, a pathogen is a germ, and an antibody is something that your body produces that identifies antigens on that pathogen to attack it and stop it from being bad. So this relationship is your antibodies will kind of identify and attach to pathogens. Number 6, the relationship between arteries and veins. Now, these are both blood vessels. Arteries carry blood away from the heart, and veins carry blood back to the heart, and they connect at the capillaries. Number 7, the connection between immunity and vaccine. Now, you're given vaccines so that you can achieve immunity. So a vaccine's a dead or weakened version of a disease, and you're given that so that your body learns to fight it and produce those antibodies, and then you get immunity to it, so that when you encounter the real version of the disease, you don't get sick with it. Your body can fight it off quickly. All right, on to the multiple choice section. Number 8, which chamber of the heart pumps oxygen poor blood into the lungs? And that is going to be B, your right ventricle. Remember that the blood comes from your body to the right side of your heart, and then it goes to your lungs, then it goes to the left side of your heart, then back to your body. And every time blood enters the heart, it enters into an atrium, just like an atrium, the gathering room of the fancy hotel. It's going to go into the atrium, and then the ventricle is actually the pump that contracts and squeezes it. So the right ventricle is going to send the oxygen poor blood to your lungs. Number 9, which blood structures carry blood back to the heart? So back to the heart, that is veins, letter A. Your arteries carry blood away from the heart, veins bring it back to the heart. And veins usually have oxygen poor blood, except when it's from the lungs to the heart, because it just got oxygen. Number 10, the structures in the blood that carry oxygen to the cells of the body are D, red blood cells. Their main purpose is to carry oxygen to all your cells that need oxygen very badly. Number 11, high blood pressure is unhealthy because B, it causes your heart to work harder. That's why you don't want that high blood pressure. It stresses your heart. Number 12, which category of pathogens causes strep throat? Now, you might have to do a little bit of searching in your text for this, but it's actually caused by a type of bacteria, Streptococcus bacteria, actually. And that's why antibiotics works as an effective drug to treat strep throat. So sometimes if you go to the doctor and they swab your throat and you come back positive, which means you have it, they give you antibiotics. Okay, number 13. Which of the following is a function of white blood cells? The white blood cells are designed to destroy foreign organisms. They're kind of like the soldiers that are guarding your body. So, number 14 then, which makes up the integumentary system? That's going to be your skin, hair, and nails, everything on the outside of your body. Number 15, which structure is found in the epidermis layer of the skin? Now remember, the epidermis is the outermost layer of your skin. That's like the epi prefix kind of means the outside part, and then dermis means skin, so it's like the outside part of your skin. That is going to be your pores, because the pores are actually little holes in the outside of your skin. More etymology for you. Think of the word porous, like a sponge is porous because it has lots of little holes in it. Pores are holes. Okay, number 16. The layer of fatty tissue below the dermis protects the body from A, cold temperatures. The fat kind of insulates you from cold temperatures. And actually, you get lots of animals that have a ton of blubber and fat to really protect them when they live in the Arctic. Like, say, a seal has a lot of fat on it. Okay, on to the short answer section. Number 17, what are platelets and where are they found? Now, platelets are like very, very tiny blood cells that are found in your circulatory system, and they form blood clots. So you cut yourself, they will come and clot it up so that you stop bleeding. Okay, number 18, what are antibodies and where are they found? Now, antibodies, they identify specific antigens, those foreign materials that enter your body, and they'll stick to them. And they are found in your circulatory system, but also your lymphatic system. So, like in your lymph vessels and nodes, and then in your veins and arteries and such. Those are the primary places where they are found. Okay, number 19. What special structures are found in the dermis layer of the skin? Now, on page 84 in your book, there's a nice diagram that actually shows you the 3 layers of skin and what structures are found in the different layers. And in your dermis, which is kind of that nice middle normal skin layer, you are going to have, let me see here, you're going to have sweat and oil glands. Sweat for cooling yourself off and getting some stuff out of your body, and then the oil actually to keep your skin from drying out. You're going to have your hair coming out of there, so your hair follicles are actually kind of rooted down in your dermis. You're going to have like your like fingernails and such coming out of that part as well, and also sensory receptors. So lots of things that'll help you, sense pressure and such, which is actually the lesson that you should have just learned, the nervous system. Okay, then we have number 20. How do the functions of atria and ventricles of the heart differ? How are they alike? We talked about that a little bit earlier, but atria are kind of where the blood enters the heart. It's like that gathering room for blood to come into the heart. And then the ventricle is actually the pump that pumps it out. So if you actually look at the walls of the chambers, the ventricles are going to have thicker walls. The left ventricle, especially since it's going to the rest of your body, is a real thick wall because it needs all that muscle to really pump it. And the atria don't do as hardcore of pumping. All right, and then we had number 24 as well. You fall and scrape your knee. How does the production of histamines aid the healing of this injury? So, when you fall and scrape your knee, the histamines are going to be released, and that is going to raise the temperature of that area, kind of make it red. It's also going to start to swell because you're going to get increased blood flow to that area so that everything that needs to get there can get there. And you're going to have white blood cells and antibodies moving to that area to attack any potential foreign substances that might come in. So those are all things that are triggered by the histamines being released. Okay, so those are all the questions I believe I assigned for this assignment. I think I also had a few questions about the coronavirus, so let me pull those up on my other computer here, and we can talk about those as well. Give me just a second. Okay, so first question, what type of pathogen is COVID-19, this coronavirus that is causing this pandemic where we're all staying at home? And it's actually in the name coronavirus. It is a viral infection. It's caused by virus, not bacteria or fungus or parasite. It is a virus. And viruses are actually interesting because there's kind of a debate as to whether they're actually alive or not, and you could reasonably take either side, but they're not really living things because they're not like made of cells. They're much, much tinier than cells, and they kind of get into a cell and hijack it, and they basically take all of the stuff inside a cell and they turn it into a virus factory, which is very interesting. They make millions more viruses, and then the cell explodes and you have millions of viruses more to go infect other cells. So that's how they work. It's very kind of sneaky. Okay, now how does COVID-19 enter the body? In other words, how does one become infected? So this is a respiratory infection, so you're gonna largely get infected through like your nose and mouth, like getting the germs into that respiratory system there. So that's why doctors especially say, wash your hands, and then even when you wash your hands, don't touch your face because you're going to be getting them into those entrances into your body. Okay, number 3, are there any drugs widely available to treat the disease? And I believe the answer as of now is kind of no, and that's part of the problem. This is a new disease, remember. It's something we haven't really dealt with before. It just came about from China, and now we have to deal with it. And we don't really have any drugs made for it. And actually, viruses, there's not a whole lot of antiviral drugs out there. So that's part of the problem. And I know they're working on drugs, and I think they're testing several drugs that show promise. So there might be some things that are sort of out there, and maybe even depending on when you did your research, you might get different answers because everything is changing every minute right now. But there aren't really any very super effective drugs out there, at least to my knowledge. Okay, and number 4, I had a series of questions. Why do you suppose this disease seems to be so contagious, and why do you suppose we don't have a vaccine for it yet, and why doesn't anyone seem to be immune to it? And the answer is that it's a new disease. So being a new disease, our bodies don't have any antibodies for anything similar to this built up yet, so we don't have any idea how to fight it. And that's also why we don't have a vaccine, because scientists and doctors don't usually make vaccines for diseases that don't exist. So being that this didn't really exist more than a few months ago, we don't have a vaccine ready for it. It takes a long time to get this stuff ready. But apparently the doctors and scientists are working very fast to get some drugs and vaccines available. And so I think they're hoping like by the fall they can have some, which is very quick for drug development. I used to work in the drug development industry back in the day. Okay, why doesn't anyone seem to be immune to it? That's kind of like the first question, why it's so contagious, is because our bodies don't have any antibodies. We don't, like everybody who is a human is susceptible to this disease versus some other disease, like some strains of the flu or a cold. If you get it, you, like maybe 50% of the population has had it before, so they're not going to get it. So it's less contagious in that sense, that fewer people in a group of people would be able to get it. But for this one, pretty much everyone can get it, so there's not really any immunity. Okay, so I think that is all of the questions. I hope you were able to research those all right, and I know there's a ton of stuff on the internet right now. Like, you can't get to the internet without seeing stuff about the coronavirus, and you can't look at the news without the coronavirus showing up right now. So I thought I'd help you glean some useful information to help you understand what the disease actually is, since you have a few tools in your mental toolbox to understand what's going on now in terms of immunity and drugs and infection and all that. So I hope that this video was helpful and that it was able to confirm that you got the right answers, or help you guide you in the right direction if you did not get the right answers for all these questions. And if I misspoke about anything with the coronavirus, let me know, because I am not an expert on it. It's a new thing for me as well. So if you found any information like, oh, there is a miraculous drug that saves everyone, let me know, and let the doctors know as well. But anyways, that's all that I have for right now. I hope that you all take care and stay healthy.